Welcome to Carter's Retro Reviews. Before I continue on with the review, I've actually got some pretty big news. My wife and I are having a baby. There's that. Also, we're building a house. That's also some pretty big news. But the big news that I really wanted to share with you guys is yesterday morning I had two really big poos. Now, the first one was at about 5:30. And that was, one big shit. What's that really? That's not really newsworthy. That's just a really, really satisfying shit. But then two of them, an hour and a half later. Oh, hang on. 5:30, 6:30. Yeah, 7 o'clock. I woke up. Bang, another big shit. And it's not even like it was like a follow-up. It was almost like a brand new poo. Then I started to think about, so what did I eat like the day before? And I was trying to think, there wasn't really that much out of the ordinary. I did have KFC, but, I'm thinking, like, if I'd gone a couple of times, that just means I got diarrhea, and that's not the same. I'm talking two big poos, ones that are like a full nugget each time, like, not just one nugget, like many nuggets, like, massive, like, it felt that big coming out that it felt like it was coming out sideways, like my asshole was just opening up like this, and the poo was just falling out. Boink. So, yeah, pretty. I mean, yeah. There's the baby in the house. That's great. But two big poos. Pew pew. Two big poos. Yeah, amazing. Force was originally released in the arcades back in 1994, then on the Saturn the following year as Layer Section in Japan and Galactic Attack in the rest of the world. Games like this excite me, especially when they get a worldwide release because I'm a huge fan of shoot 'em ups, even way back then, and I can't imagine a dedicated fan base that wouldn't be. So when I know that this is one of 5 titles to get a release outside of Japan, surely it would have been a bigger fan base to acknowledge more games like this. You had both Darius games, Proteus, and if you want to use the genre a little more loosely, you had Sky Target and Tempest 2000, although they're not in the same vein of shoot 'em up as I would normally like. What I don't understand is that the strong suit for the Saturn was shoot 'em ups, and there were so many left in Japan that are better than this game. Which in turn means that any half-decent Japanese shmup goes for amazing amounts of money on eBay. It's almost like Sega was scared of making money, not to take anything away from this game, as it still stands as one of my favourite shmups for the console outside of Japan. I mean, even the sequel never made it out of Japan. What is wrong with you, Sega? You give us boatloads of shoddy sports and fighting games, but a half-decent shoot 'em up? Nah, we'll leave them in Japan. Batsugun, Thunder Force 5, Dodonpachi are all better games, and perhaps if Sega released these sorts of games worldwide, the Saturn could have become a more popular console than the re-releases and dodgy PAL games that ended up on our shores. So the story is that the government constructs a massive supercomputer, which they might as well call a mainframe, so we can hack it with a Gibson. The whole purpose of the supercomputer was good intentions, believe you me. The government doing what's best for their people? Ha! I'll believe that when I see it. Anyway, surprise surprise, something fucks up as it always does, and a cloned human's mind is linked, and the computer becomes sentient and insane, and it sounds like something straight out of a Kubrick film. It destroys nearly the entire human race, which is a bummer really, because I always liked Steve. And the leftovers built a ship through an Eye of the Tiger montage. And we're gonna need a montage. Ooh, it takes a montage. Show a lot of things happening at once. Remind everyone of what's going on. And with every shot, show a little improvement. To show it raw would take too long. That's called a montage. Girl, we want a montage. And here we are. The underdogs taking back what's rightfully ours. Part of me thinks the presentation's really shoddy. Game start and options. That's it. But there's another part of me that loves the shit out of it, and that there's this true arcade feeling to it. The art design looks really, really awesome. The options are somewhat limited, even though we do get the option of a tape mode. There's no specific 1 or 2 player mode, just game start, and then a second player presses start to join in. In-game presentation though is pretty good, with good use of colour and a few little neat things like the ship design in the bottom left and right hand side of the screen, and an effect gauge for our special lock-on lasers at the bottom. I happen to like graphics a lot. I get that they're not the sharpest graphics to look at, and if this was emulated through arcade, it would look far better. But it still looks pretty damn good, all things considered. No real glitching, and the colours of the bullets are done well to help gameplay. Everything on screen is bold enough that it doesn't really blur together in a mess, which some shmups suffer from. Some people have complained that the music is total cheese, and I don't mind it at all. Really feels like it belongs in this game, but in a good way. I mean, it's still not something that really stays with me. I still really think it adds to the game, but not the sole reason you'd play it. Sound effects are all pew pew and shit. Gameplay gives a very slight change to the mechanic that really works for the game, and that's being able to shoot ahead of you like normal, and below you. It's more advantageous to use your lasers to shoot your enemies before they get to your level, but that involves memorization of the levels to an incredibly intense level. After playing only 20 to 30 times, I was able to get all the way to level 4 comfortably, and then fumble my way through to level 5 and level 6 once. Some people have argued the difficulty, and I will say that the last 3 levels are raging hard, but that's due to the fact that this game only has 7 levels to begin with. So they pull the old Nintendo trick and make the game short, but brutally difficult to master to get longevity out of the game. Since it also has a 2-player component, the gameplay as far as the number of enemies is concerned doesn't seem to really change with a second person. However, just to change shit up, you pretty much share the power-ups, which adds a level of brutality and incredible annoyance if you're playing with someone who's dead shit and holds you down like a brick underwater. But at no point is that the game's fault either, as the controls are super snappy and responsive. Replayability is very lacking, sadly. I mean, you do have the 2-player feature, but even then it really feels like an afterthought more than anything. But that being said, it's still done pretty smartly, leaving the game as it is, and making players trade up by taking a bullet in capacity. But there's just no extra modes or anything. Would I recommend this game? Absolutely. While it's not a long game, it's still tons and tons of fun.